Who's on first? Please say your name and where you live.
My name's Dan Picard, and I live on Ashbury Circle.
Okay, hey Dan.
And I sort of got volunteered for this, but I'm okay with it.
Can the mic hear him?
Can you hear me?
Put the mic closer.
Bible, yeah, okay.
Okay, there we go. Tony had written a letter about the sidewalks and the safety on the circle of Ashbury, along the Surfside area there, the common area, where the sidewalk was never completed. I don't know if anybody's seen the letter.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Got it work? Turn it on or what? Like I said, I'm reiterating for Tony. Tony had written a letter, and he came down to talk to me. Him and his wife are in New York right now, visiting the family, so he couldn't be here. But we're getting a lot more kids on the circle now, and more kids riding bikes in the street down at that end. There's no light at that corner at night. There's also a lot of people walking their dogs and just plain walking that have to walk in the street on that end of the road because there's no sidewalk down there that was never completed. It ends 30, 40 feet into the grass on one end, 30, 40 feet into the grass on the other, and the whole length of Surfside there on Ashbury Surf, it's not, there's no sidewalk. So I myself have come around the corner at night and almost hit 3 kids on bicycles because they're riding in the middle of the road, coming straight at me at the curb. And I think it would just be a lot safer if we could get that.
Which?
Which what?
Safer to be what?
Sidewalk?
Because the kids aren't gonna ride the bike on the sidewalk.
They probably won't, but they should be riding on the sidewalks. The people walking their dogs could get off onto the sidewalks.
Okay.
And the people walking in general could walk on the sidewalk and not in the street. Tony was saying he comes around there and if you're walking toward traffic, nobody can see you around that curve anyway, because there's no street lights there and it's really dark. So that was another thing he would request, getting another street light added. If you go on to Ashbury, I don't know if you guys are familiar with turn right. And you go on to Ashbury, you turn left, going towards Surfside. That circle right there is all dark and dead, okay?
Yeah. But we understand. How much more do you have? Because this is a 3-minute per.
Am I down about 3 minutes or?
You can go further. It's a very important thing. Just not too long, okay? All right.
But that was mainly what I wanted to bring up, and the issues of landscaping it, maintaining it. It is a common area, has the 2 dog potty things there on it. They barely even mow it once in a while. It's a weeded mess right now. It's never been landscaped for a while. From what the neighbors told me, I wasn't here previously, but they said it used to be beautiful at one time. And I know a lot of it had to do with Hurricane Ian. The trees all fell down on our side of the fence. It's been a mess since I've been here for a year and a half, so sure would like it fixed up too. I don't know if anybody else is ready.
I can say something also. So I'm Dan
Wait,
Curley. I live at
wait just a minute.
Yeah.
I just got a text from Bill Tubb, says he can't hear the audio from that mic.
Vic? No, that's before, yeah, that's probably before.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure the people at home could hear what you're saying. Yeah.
So my name is Dick Curley. I am at 2404 Ashbury. I, as well as many of my neighbors, own electric cars. You do not hear those vehicles coming around the corner. So this is even more important that we have a sidewalk where people walk in that area. You can't hear a car coming. If it's backside, it's dark, you're going to get hit. That's my 2 cents.
Okay.
Hi, Ruth Chiker, 2420 Ashbury Circle. We've been without a sidewalk for all 12 years I've lived there. Mothers are pushing strollers in the street, kids are riding their scooters in the street. It's very, very unsafe. as far as I know, we're the only street that doesn't have a continuous sidewalk.
No, there's a couple of them. Vermont is one of them.
That's not,
Yeah, Vermont is one that doesn't have a sidewalk on it.
Yeah, and,
let her speak, please.
yeah, so as I say, I haven't driven every street, but I know that in our area, it is dark, it is dangerous, it's on a curve, and we desperately would like the board to consider putting in a sidewalk along that section of Ashbury Circle.
Is there a sidewalk on the other side right now? Or there's no sidewalk at all?
No, it's not.
One sidewalk.
On the other side of the street either?
There's
No,
not.
because it's on one side.
So what, in
And
front of
they
the,
stopped,
in front of the houses, there are no,
Please,
there are no
please.
sidewalks?
Let's have some order here. Any more comments? Okay. What I'm gonna tell you is.
Okay, so my name is Allison Chigra, 2420 Ashbury with Ruth. So there's sidewalks on one side of the street in the entire community. Ashbury Circle is one of those streets where the sidewalk does not continue, which means people are riding their bicycles, on their motorized scooters, they're walking their dogs, they're walking their kids on the street. And when you have electric or hybrid vehicles that are quiet as a mouse, you can't hear them. And it is a lawsuit and accident waiting to happen. So there has to be some change. It has been over 12 years.
Are there any further comments?
Hello everyone, my name is Claudia Saenz. I live in 2403. And I remember that this issue was brought to your attention a long time ago, but there were other probably important matters that were buried in this one little by little. But it does not make any sense that the circle starts with this beautiful sidewalk and then at the end it stops. And that's unfortunately the part that is very dark, there is no light, and we walk with my husband every night and we always talk about that. So I'm so happy that this came into the agenda and see if you guys, the board, can help beautify Ashbury Circle, but not only beautify it, but make it safe. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Yes. Hi, I'm Susan Picard, 2526 Ashbury. It has been brought to my attention too, that because we are fairly new, my husband and I, to the community, and within a few days, Hurricane Ian hit. So with that being said, you know, now we're all kind of getting back to normal. The safety is absolutely an issue, and as Allison brought up, very good point, the liability is a huge issue, because it isn't just people that live there, it's also people that are doing work in the community as well, trucks and that kind of thing. But, and it also has been brought to our attention that this is not a new subject. So whether it be sod or sidewalks and that kind of thing, and that there was money that had been discussed about it before the sale of that building here, when Kathleen was president. And I think, sir, you were vice president at the time, so it isn't a new topic. So we are hoping that something can be done about it. Be great.
Any other comments? Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Any other resident comments? By the way, we will talk about that at our meeting. If there are no other comments, let's start the meeting with the place of flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, call to order. present. Todd Reinhardt,
Present.
Stan Toro,
Here.
Dave Ott. Here. John Elkins here.
Andrew Emmerich here.
Bill. Here. Bill Simonelli. Marilyn is absent at another function she could not attend. So we have a quorum, we have 6. Do I hear a motion? We've all read the minutes from last meeting, it's been issued to us. Do I hear a motion to accept those minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
I'll second. Okay, motion is made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It's accepted. Okay. Let's start with my comments, and I'll lead my comments with the talk about the sidewalk and lighting on Ashford. Yes, this was brought up, and it kind of got just put away table, because right after that, we got hit by a hurricane. At the time, it's my understanding that there had been an estimate of some $30,000 for a sidewalk. For us to believe that estimate still stands is kind of silly, given the inflation we've seen in all of our construction here. So, before we do anything, we need a price. We need a good, solid estimate of what we need to be done. And what we need to be done is not just sidewalk, but landscaping. I looked at that very carefully. There's a very steep slope there, and there's potential impact on landscaping that would need to be addressed properly. Okay. As to the issue of lighting, I see those are 2 totally separate issues. They don't provide lighting. I think I don't know what it is in Cape Coral. I think every 4 or 5 houses should be able to get a light in Cape Coral, and I think there's more than that. We should take a look at the lighting. So as of tonight, I'm assigning the issue of investigating the sidewalk to our landscape committee, because they'll need to get landscape proposals and get costs from there. And the lighting, I'll assign to the safety and security committee. Once the reports come back, we will then bring that to the board for decision. And the decision will be either you have all of Sandoval pay for your sidewalk, or you can pay for the sidewalk with your portion divided among the people in your street. If all Sandoval pays for it, then everybody, including the condo, is gonna pay like $30 a piece for a sidewalk at your place. It'd be $600 to $1,000 a piece if you do it in your house. So we'll look at it carefully, and we'll have to figure out what we can do legally without vote from everybody to make that kind of expenditure. Right. We will be careful.
Can I ask you a quick
No,
question?
no. The question will be answered when we have our study from landscape. We'll take a look at what the costs will be, and once we know that, we'll go a little further, okay? I'll say that we are recovering nicely. The common landscaping looks better already. Juniper's starting to do a pretty good job for us, and soon, all of the rest of the houses that have been done by DTE will be done by. We'll no longer have any finger pointing between 2 vendors, say, no, that's not mine, that's yours. And I would expect to see good things from it. We also look around, Sandoval's getting prettier. We got a lot of pretty new roofs. One thing I'd like to say, though, is that if you really want to look at values of Sandoval and what keeps our value up in the public opinion, is how clean and neat we keep the place. There are a lot of dirty roofs out there, dirty driveways, and ugly yards. So I would ask, before you get a citation, take a look and correct your own, if you would, please. All right. The dog park visitors, also, our dog parks are getting a lot more activity now. The weather's good. You've got 15 or 20 people at a time now sometimes at dog parks. Our new dog parks look really great, but somebody's dog has already started digging holes in it. And so what I would ask our residents, if you come with a dog, your dog digs a hole, fill it up. And if necessary, put some sod on it. We all need to respect this place. As I said, our landscape committee will ask to address the issue of dog parks, so there might be some alternate sod that we would need to put in. Those are my present comments for the night. Next, let's have a treasurer's report from Bill Sandoval.
Okay. Don't have to move.
We don't? Okay, all right.
Okay, the treasury report. First of all, we're doing an abbreviated report tonight because the year-end financials for 2023 are not completed yet. We had to leave the books open on 2023 because one of our vendors, the specifically Southeast Spreading Company that did all the common area mulch, they sent us an invoice for 2023 expenses well into 2024. So we had to hold open the books so we can accrue it properly, so we can do a proper accounting on the budget. Next month, I should have the full 2023 year-end review in place to review with the community. Secondly, we have now implemented our IntraFi cash service account with Enterprise Bank and Trust. This is the account that will every night spread our operating funds across multiple banks so that no one deposit will exceed the $250,000 FDIC limit. It does require that we will have to get used to using this new account. So for the next 3 months, we will be paying one of our top vendors out of that account, with the goal in May, starting to pay our top 4 vendors out of that account. So about 60 to 70% of our operating funds will be residing in that money market account going forward. And every night it gets spread out to various partner banks. And in the morning, the money comes back, we can disperse it, and just like a regular checking account. We have authorized Socia to do an initial deposit into the Enterprise Bank and Trust account of $310,000. And that's the only transfer we'll do until the May timeframe when we've gotten comfortable with the process. Reserve funds. As of today, our reserve funds balance are $3.172 million. In our Premier Pacific bank account, where we pay the bills for the reserve projects, we have $278,000. In our Fifth Third investment account, we have approximately $2.9 million. 98% of it is in treasury bonds, and our year-to-date market yield is now creeping up to 3.21%. When we do some more transfers into that, I expect we'll start seeing the yield getting a bit over 4%. On the Hurricane Ian assessment funds, we have, as of today, $1.2 million in that assessment account. We'll do another accounting of the delinquencies against that account as part of the February review. This week, the Finance Committee met with Associate to start working on cash flow planning. That's one of our key objectives for this year, so that we can minimize the amount of money we have to transfer between accounts and maximize how much we can get on our investment account. And that's it for this month.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, I'd like to go back to my comments 1 second, and I want to say that it's very nice that so many of you from Ashbury turned out to represent your street. Appreciate that. One more thing that has been said is that, I'll stand back, there's been an assumption that money had been set aside as part of the Sandoval agreement to prepare the sidewalk. That's not the case. There was no money earmarked for the sidewalk. The only thing we got from the settlement was the property and which used to be the sales center. So we need to know the numbers before we can go further. Next on the agenda, this is not a conversation, ma'am, I'm sorry. The next is the General Manager report, Chuck Healy.
All right, I'd like a motion on the violations. The violations are in the packet. What happened? Can you hear me?
I'll go ahead and make the motion that the violations that are in the board package are accepted, move forward.
I'll second that.
All those in favor of supporting the violation, opposed, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried.
Okay, as part of my report, violation letters, 190 letters were sent out from December 1st to January 20th. So we have increased our violation letter outreach. We're seeing a high percentage of compliance. We see people getting their roofs cleaned. And I won't steal from Andrew's status on violations, but we are having some good progress there. The one thing I'd like to bring to the board's attention, and you can understand why we see this little phenomena based on Hurricane Ian. The office has processed 72 rental applications within this month. That is well above our regular rate. And in doing so, what's happening is a lot of owners who have never rented their units before are now renting their units. So we have, I think, inexperienced owners who are not familiar with the application process, which is part of the rules and regulations, it's a policy. And so we have people showing up, saying, I'm here, where's my house, kind of thing. So we're trying our best to educate owners about the rental application. It's 15 days in advance. Why the board has 15 days in advance is so that the owner can be vetted, the owner can be contacted, the owner has to be in good standing, they don't owe any money, they don't have any violations, and once all those boxes are checked, the application is processed, notification goes to the owner then loses their amenities and it transfers to the renter. So I beg everyone's patience as we go through this. We can understand, I've talked to some of the owners, and quite frankly, with the cost of repairs on their homes, where they normally would never rent out their unit, they're now renting their unit out so they can recoup some money towards their expenses. So it's understandable, but I'll also just bring this to the board's attention because there's a lot of people that are frustrated with the rental process, and it's really because of the lack of understanding. Those who are accustomed to renting have no problem. The paperwork is in, everything happens smoothly, and the renters come in, and it's a very good transition. So I wanted to bring that to the board's attention. We haven't seen the pace slow up at all, so we'll continue doing the best we can with rental applications. As far as my report, I won't steal from Art's. I was going to talk about Art, but the clubhouse roof is scheduled for the week of February 5th to be replaced. There will be minor disruptions, but the gym and the office will still be available. We are scheduled in February to have the water slide shut down for 3 days so we can perform maintenance on it. And the basketball court repair is tentatively scheduled for mid-February. As you know, some people know, we did shut down the Surfside Gate for Envira to do maintenance and rewiring at their expense. They were optimistic to go right over to veterans and start the next week on veterans, but they're currently holding up until they can find a less invasive way of putting the wiring. They're actually going to bore the wires down through an auger underneath the surface instead of digging it up and putting wires down, which should speed things up. It's just we're waiting for that crew, waiting for a date for that crew. Now, when we do shut down veterans, as the board voted, the Surfside Gate will be open during business hours to make sure that visitors and guests can flow through without being log jammed at Pine Island. So that's still, we'll keep you updated as to when that's actually going to take place. It's pending. The annual meeting notice is in the mail. The meeting is March 7th at 6 p.m. in this building. You should be receiving your first notice with an intent to run for board, as well as electronic voting instructions. And then there'll be instructions as to what to do with your intent to run for the board and your voting in that packet. The last thing I want to mention is, and this kind of goes along with the rental application, is we are actually having a new resident orientation Monday night at 6 o'clock here. We've invited all the renters so we can allow them to understand the rules and regulations of Sandoval and to be able to ask questions and kind of make their transition a little better. That's it for me. Any questions from the board? I yield my time.
Well, I think encourage all of our residents that are interested in board seats, please get your applications in to be candidates. Next, we go to old business, and the one item we have listed on old business is a briefing that the ad hoc committee proposed to engage the Paradigm Group. And Bill, you have that.
Yep. Okay. So I will go through some background first, and then I'll introduce the motion. Okay. So the ad hoc committee has been working on trying to understand where we were in our contract relationship with CenturyLink and worked with CenturyLink. I think Steve did some very good work on trying to mitigate some of the short-term issues, and he's reported at the last few meetings about what the committee has done to try to work with CenturyLink to get a better handle on our current service that we're getting in the community. As we started to move our direction to look forward, we're now starting to look at what is the replacement strategy for the current service we have from CenturyLink. And just to put some things in perspective, the current contract that we have is in effect until end of April of 2026. And it could take upwards for a new service provider, upwards of a year to lay new fiber and electronics to each of the 1425 units in our community before the service would become operational. So there's an operational challenge in addition to a financial challenge to come up with a package that makes the most sense for the community. In looking at these different options, we became introduced to a consulting company headquartered on the east coast of Florida by the name of Paradigm Broadband Group. This is a consulting company that specializes in running RFP processes for homeowner associations. And they have a track record of running RFPs and negotiating new service contracts for homeowner and condominium associations all over the state of Florida and into southeast U.S., Georgia, Louisiana, and that area. I had one overview meeting with the president of the company, and then we had a group presentation with them back in November. And since then, we've been doing due diligence on the company itself and who they've done business with and understanding the good and bad about that company. So what we are, with the Internet ad hoc group is recommending is that the community consider entering into negotiations with this company to work on a contract for them to represent Sandoval to prepare an RFP, select the various vendors that would go to that would receive this RFP, then manage the RFP process, prepare a set of recommendations to be reviewed and approved by the board, and then ultimately with the goal of trying to find a replacement service solution for our current internet access. The way that Paradigm would be compensated if we did enter into a contract with them is they would be paid what's called a door fee. And I think there's some misconceptions about the structure of the door fee. What is happening in the marketplace today with the internet service providers is in order to incent a community like ours to sign up with them for a long-term contract, and a long-term contract means anywhere from 3 to 10 years. They are offering a lump sum payment to the community at the commencement of service, and it's usually based on the number of doors in a community. So for example, in North Fort Myers, Xfinity is into a contract with an HOA there, and is paying $200 a door, or $158,000 to the community once they commence the service. And that money comes into the community to be used either going into operating funds, going to reserve funds, cover some additional costs associated with the transition of services, because there will be an overlap between service providers until we're fully cut over. And then they typically look for a 25% percentage of that. That is a single payment to them and the money comes into the association, and then the association writes a check directly to the consulting group for the work that they've done on our behalf. There is no additional charges, there is no ongoing payments that occur over the life of the contract, so we're essentially paying a consultant to work on our behalf, identify the potential vendors that can reasonably be expected to provide new internet services to our community within a year and a half time frame, prepare an RFP that is approved by the Internet Ad Hoc Committee, and then prepare recommendations for the board to consider who to contract with. So what we have prepared is a motion to that effect that I'd like to read. Whereas it is in the best interest of the association to understand the options available to the association for bulk internet access service and develop a plan to provide internet access service at the conclusion of the current contract with CenturyLink. Be it resolved that the association authorizes the Internet Ad Hoc Committee that was formed by the association on October 25th, 2023 board meeting to engage in contract negotiations with the Paradigm Broadband Group to have Paradigm work on behalf of Sandoval to investigate options for bulk internet access service for the Sandoval community, prepare and solicit responses to a request for proposal for bulk internet access services, present recommendations based on the RFP response to the Sandoval Board of Directors, and assist the association with negotiations with establishing a bulk internet access agreement with the service provider approved by the Sandoval Board of Directors. Any contract with Paradigm must be in line with the association's standard terms and conditions for consulting agreements, and Sandoval will not be obliged to make any financial compensation to Paradigm without prior Sandoval Board of Directors approval. So submitted.
That motion's been read. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion been read, and seconded. It's open for discussion.
I have several comments.
Okay.
First of all, the risk management took a look at the original Paradigm agency agreement, and in our opinion, which was reviewed by Mr. Bill Dunker, who's the chairman of risk management, who's a 50-year attorney in business law and contract law, that agreement was not acceptable. And there was a red-lined agreement that was structured and sent back up that we recommended that be used if we were to move forward with Paradigm. So that's risk management's recommendation that would be moved. That would be the document used if the board voted to move forward. In addition to, it would be my opinion that there would be a team developed to do the negotiation with Paradigm, and I would recommend that Mr. Simonelli, Mr. Elkins, and Mr. Dunker be part of that negotiations team to work towards coming up with an agreement with Paradigm that benefits the community. The third thing is there should be absolutely $0 spent during this particular process, either before or during this particular exploratory period with Paradigm. As I often was told, there's no such thing as a free lunch. There's a cost to everything. And so we need to make sure that we cross all the T's and dot the I's. Most importantly, the property owners of Sandoval need to have a voice in this. So as this rolls out and the negotiating team brings something to the table, the final voice on where we go with this should go to the property owners to make a final decision. So, based on that, in conclusion, as the motion is presented, the only way that I would support it is based on those comments that I just made.
May I ask a question? Todd, are you looking for a community vote or a presentation to the community to allow them to ask questions?
No, that's a great question. I would say, I think that to have the exploratory negotiations with the Paradigm Group, we should move that forward as long as we're not spending a dime in this process, okay? Once we come up with something, I think that is absolutely at a point in time where it needs to be taken to the property owners to make a decision. My other final comment that I think is absolutely imperative in the negotiation part is that we should not lose our leverage with CenturyLink. We have an opportunity to where they're presently a vendor, and that we should use that lever to our maximum capacity as we go through this process. And that would be whatever this particular negotiation committee decides to utilize. That's my comments on that. So I would support it based on those four points, if you want to say, Andrew.
Okay, now, the motion is to proceed talking to them, not sign the contract. Now, are you saying your comments before we sign the contract, or before we continue talking?
I want it to be an understanding is before we sign any agreement, agency agreement, Paradigm, that the red line agreement that was presented by Mr. Bunker from Risk Management, that is used as a basis to start the negotiation with Paradigm.
I totally agree with you.
Secondly, that the three-team member of the negotiating team, Seminole, Bunker, and Elkins are the ones that start this negotiation process. That there's proactive communication between the three that benefits Sandoval as a whole. Okay?
Any other discussion? Yes.
What if he's not the president, then is it the president or is it John specific?
I can understand. I'm sorry, what?
If you're not around as a president, who, is it gonna be the president that does this, or is it you specifically that you want it done?
Well, are you amending the motion, or are you making these suggestions? See what I mean?
No, I'm not amending it.
Okay.
To answer Stan's question, at this time, I would say Elkins would be part of the three-man team to negotiate that.
Okay.
All right, a couple things. This is what I got from the contract, basically from this company. I spoke to a PCAM professional in this area because I had to learn, because it didn't sound right. From my understanding, this company's gonna come in, and let's say they're gonna use CenturyLink. We pay $25 per door for CenturyLink, right? So this company, let's say they go to CenturyLink or Xfinity, and they're gonna go, oh, okay, you're paying $25 per door. They get paid for what they get. So they go, all right, $25 per door, let's make it $40 per door, and we're gonna keep $15 of that 40, and then you guys continue to pay 25. Or do a little better service, bump it up to 30, and then reality 40, then we'll still get the $10. And you do $10 times 1,400 homes, and that's what their payout is gonna be. So technically, we're paying a company to do an internet search over $14,000 or so. That's what I did. I don't know where this money's coming from, this lump sum that Bill keeps talking about, but it was explained to me like that. Because at no given time had anybody in this committee explained to me how much money they're getting paid or where the money's coming from. Everything is a lump sum, or when they're done the job, or after we sign the contract. Well, John just said that we're not even signing a contract, we're just here to talk about it. Then why are we even talking about it? We either sign a contract or we don't. And as far as I'm concerned, this is garbage. Why are we paying somebody, well, we have so many professionals living in Sandoval. We got a committee, we got an ad hoc committee. 15 grand, and I think that's a low ball. What if they go to 50 per household, and we pay 35 and they keep the rest for How long? Because we don't know what the contract is gonna say. So I'm completely against this, it's not transparent. Also, where's the bidding paper with the company and anything that we need? You need 3 companies to bid on anything that we have to have. We have none of that. Just like the last time we took a vote, we got 3 bids, it came to bite us in the butt. And we're gonna do it again, because we don't have any transparency here.
Any other discussion? Bill?
Yeah, so let me walk through the structure of the door fee. So the way the bulk internet services market works today is that the internet, there are established internet service providers like Xfinity, Comcast, Quantum Fiber, who used to be CenturyLink. In addition to that, there are independent and other companies that are out trying to provide fiber to the communities. And those are companies like Hotwire, Blue Wire, and there's a couple others that are starting to do business in our area. And one of the ways that they try to make their RFPs, their proposals to a community for a bulk agreement attractive, is that they will pay the community a one-time fee at the commencement of service if you sign a contract with them. So in the case of Xfinity with this community in North Fort Myers, they have signed a contract where they are paying that community $153,800 when the service commences. So that means, that is taking them about 9 to 12 months to get the wiring done into the community. Then they have to do the wiring from each neighborhood pedestal to each house, and each owner, or I guess for the president, to turn on the service individually at each location. And then once that's completed, Xfinity is going to turn around, here's a copy of the contract that I can share with you. They are going to write a check to this association for $153,800. Now, if they were using Paradigm would be entitled to 25% of that $153,000 as the single and only payment that goes to Paradigm for the work that they do to do the discovery, RFP preparation, and assisting with negotiation and project implementation of the service. And there is no ongoing payment to Paradigm if we sign a contract with them.
Okay.
Let me make one other comment, and this is a common sense thing. If we've got the cart ahead of the horse, so if we go with Paradigm, they do all the work, and it doesn't cost us a dime, it doesn't cost us anything for a free look, so be it. But at the end of the day, let's not try to sell something that here's what the reality is. You have a vendor who's gonna promise something that's gonna promise to lay new infrastructure in the community. Let me tell you what that equates to. That equates to they're gonna want a long-term contract. That's the reality of it. That's how they recoup their money, okay? We've been there, we've done that. So I don't wanna jump to a conclusion. Let's see what we've got, but let's put all the cards on the table and look at what we have. The reality is, I want to protect our leverage that we have with our current infrastructure, which is CenturyLink, Lumen, Quantum, and use that card to try to get the best deal that we possibly can with our fiber and move forward from that point.
So we just have to make sure that we understand what we have from Lumen today. What we have today in our community is fiber to the neighborhood. And each house is serviced by DSL, so we are capped at our service. So even if we were to go with Quantum for the next service contract, they still have to come in and wire, they have to put in new electronics into each neighborhood, and they have to put in fiber optic cable from each of these neighborhood pedestals to each house, and still go through 1,400
To do what? To go from 500 to 1,000?
Please,
Yeah.
let's.
Yes, because
Let's
right now the
don't shout out.
technology
Let's-
that is physically
No,
in place.
relax.
No, you like.
You relax. We're talking
One at a
nice.
time.
We're talking
One
nice.
at a
Just
time.
relax.
One at a time.
Just relax.
I
Go ahead,
say
Bill.
one at a
Go
time.
ahead, Bill.
The technology that we have installed in our community today, from CenturyLink is DSL based from the neighborhood pedestal to your house. That means you have copper wires underground going into the terminal junction on the side of your house. And then it does a conversion to a fiber optic signal inside the wiring of your house. That's how it is today. So that technology is physically capped from a technology perspective at what they commit to today.
Where do you get that from though? Because right now from Xfinity, I'm getting 1,000 plus.
That's correct,
But
because
they're-
from Xfinity, what they did is they came in, they have fiber in your network, and they laid a fiber optic cable from their neighborhood pedestal directly to your house. So when you get a second service provider, that's exactly what you're doing. My brother just bought a house in Cape Coral, and he got Quantum Fiber, and they had to have 3 different contractors. One contractor to bring the fiber to the neighborhood, another one to do it to the outside of his house, and then a third installer had to come in and put in his service.
That's exactly what Ted was talking about. I mean, this is a long-term
Yes.
deal, and you know, my fear is that this paradigm is gonna come in, and the best deal they can do is just to piggyback off what's already here. They get Hotwire or somebody else, and then we have to pay Hotwire money, then we gotta pay these guys, apparently $25,000, $30,000 now, and then go from there. It doesn't make any sense. And then we gotta tear up the streets for 2 years plus, because this job isn't easy. I used to lay cable down, and it's not easy. It'll take a long time. Meanwhile, we're paying CenturyLink, because we have to keep CenturyLink until all the work is done. So if they take over 2 years to install, then what are we gonna do? We're gonna be without internet? No CenturyLink, and no new company? It's too many unknowns in order to hire somebody else to lead us at a cost to the neighborhood, to the people.
Mr. President, I have just a couple of quick comments and I think this is where this is all leading to is, I'm not an expert in telecommunications, don't profess to be one, and I'm not gonna fake that I am, but let's get a comparison of apples to apples, oranges to oranges. Let's get a cost on what it would take CenturyLink, Lumen, and Quantum to upgrade to what our demands would be. Let's compare, and then let's put it out to the property owners to decide once the negotiating team comes up with some type of recommendation, and let the property owners decide.
Okay, I want to remind everyone that those who do vote in favor of this motion understand that we intend to follow your recommendations, even if it's voted yes. Make sure we have the red line documents in there, and that we don't sign a contract until it's been thoroughly vetted, reviewed not only by Duncan, but by our outside legal counsel. I will make sure that will happen if I'm around. All right?
And the negotiating team is set with the 3 people?
Yes, absolutely. So are you ready for the question?
I would like to just advise that I have some concern that our community is going to participate as it needs to ensure that this proposal goes forward. Not this proposal, excuse me, the proposal of a new contractor to provide service to the community for internet. I also quite aware from various sources, the community is not happy with what they have today. They expect us to make a change, and we're going to need their commitment to ensure that that change is done.
Yeah, it's about time we get
Yes,
that input.
I would agree with you.
I don't think anyone disagrees with that. That we
Move
want
forward with us.
Well, in fact, when we went from Comcast to CenturyLink, there was a vote or a survey done of the community. We will absolutely do that. All we're doing now is saying, shall we proceed talking with these people? We're not signing a contract. So I'm gonna ask the question, and when I ask it, I'd like you to raise your hand. All those in favor of the motion as read, raise your right hand. All opposed? Motion carried. Next item of business. We need insurance policy review with EMT. Is that, we're tabling that to February, right?
Yes, sir, he'll be here on the 29th of February. That's not a show.
Okay. Now, there's an appeal by Mr. Circle of Blackburn Circle, appealing the arc roof color. Is he here?
Yes, right here.
Would you come to the front, please?
Thank you.
the two houses on my street that have been approved for these colors, and I think the exact same colors that they picked and have been denied multiple times.
These are tile?
Correct.
Is yours tile?
Yes, it is.
Your appeal is that you wish to have the board approve your request for your roof color. Is that
That is
correct?
correct.
I would make a motion to approve the color gray.
Seconded.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no?
No.
No.
Motion carried, 4-2. We approve your. I'm sorry, wait, I miscounted, okay, raise your hand, those in favor? Opposed? I'm sorry, we don't have a quorum. An equal vote is a no vote. I'm sorry.
I mean, yeah, you guys have already approved this homeowner. You've approved two other houses on the street.
Do you want Art to provide any feedback?
No.
Okay.
We had your position before, and you voted on it, right?
No, I did not. I did not vote on this.
You voted against it?
Yeah, that's true, yes.
Okay. If you want to discuss it, Art disapproved it, and you voted against it, and as a 3-3 vote, cannot carry.
Okay.
Sorry. You were denied.
Okay.
Next item.
Check the vote again, just for the minutes.
Sorry.
1, 2, who's third?
Four was,
3 yes, 3 no.
Todd,
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 Stan.
me, and Bill, and against was Andrew and
No,
Bill, Andrew, and myself were against.
that's right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. We don't need a report from the ad hoc internet committee, is that correct, or do we? No. Okay, we'll vote. Landscaping. No. We have an item on the agenda for the sidewalk, the lighting at Ashford, but that's already been discussed.
Can I discuss it real quick? Of course. I think it was you. I want to apologize because that is the only street with that long of a sidewalk missing. While I was sitting here, I looked at Google Maps and I looked at every single street, and I said Vermont was one of them, but Vermont has a sidewalk on the inside. And Ashbury's, that's a long strip, and I do understand all that, and safety and security is gonna look into it. I'm pretty far down the list. Chuck went over the amenities and stuff, that's why I want to speak up now, because I gotta go to soccer. I just wanted to come in and go over some things, but yeah, the Ashbury thing, yeah, that is the only street that's missing completely, like a big chunk. And it's dangerous, it is, because there's no sidewalk. It's like a no-brainer.
But
Thank you.
once we,
Yeah, so, I'm gonna give it to Christine Peters, is that, yeah, she's safe and secure. Christine Peterson and them, and they're gonna look at it. You already submitted the concrete, stuff, so hopefully they can work with the landscaping company and see if we can resolve this as soon as possible, because the liability and everything that goes along with that, I mean, you brought it up, and we have to act on it before somebody gets killed, so, thank you for coming up.
Thank you.
communications,
Communications, we didn't meet in the month of January, but they are still updating the Little Sandoval website, and that's the status of communications.
okay. All right. Andrew, or you have a committee chairman?
Would one of the committee members want to give an update, or I'm happy to stand and chat, but I don't know the exact numbers, I'm sure you do, Allison.
But she's so shy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She gets it from her mother.
Yeah.
Wish y'all could have met my father, he was worse.
Oh, okay.
All right, ARC processed about 20 to 30 applications in the last month. One of the items that we have been trying to bring to the forefront is that ARC has provided applications that are not complete. They are missing required documents. And just because you receive a dirty roof violation does not equal the fact that you can submit a new roof application with just new roof. How do I put this kindly? There needs to be repercussions and consequences for those residents that defy our standards. The community, we have an open Pandora's box, essentially. And the community has become a free-for-all. Simply a $1,000 fine for unsanctioned projects is not going to be stopping anybody from painting their house purple, putting on a Technicolor roof. It's the list is longer than I want to provide. So I thought I'd take a minute to provide that additional feedback, if you weren't already aware.
We have been carefully advised by our attorney the limits to which we can impose penalties. We cannot exceed them, and we are not exceeding them. I'm sorry. I know you would like more. It's not a debate.
And I respect that, I do. I understand the legality of things. However, this community is starting to already go off the deep end. And unfortunately, it's just going to get worse if nobody puts their foot down.
I think things are getting better, frankly, but I appreciate your position. Okay. Social, is someone here from social? Marilyn is absent. Is someone representing social? Social committee has done a fantastic job. We're more active in the clubhouse than we have in a long, long time. I was positive. Amenities, Stan. He's gone. Sorry, where'd Stan go? Oh, well, is someone here from amenities? You're here? You're gonna do it, too? Okay. Safety and security, someone representing safety and security.
I will. Safety and Security is actually holding a committee meeting tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Purposes of meeting, one of the agenda items are something I brought to the table based on Florida statute, is a safety and security inspection that took place in December by Lee County Sheriff's Department. They have recommendations that the Safety and Security Committee can review and to either take actions or not to take actions based on their crime/safety security opinion.
Do we have that?
We want to give it to the committee first, and then if any recommendations, we pass it on. Again, it is just recommendations, not requirements. And I will caution you, the reason why I didn't distribute it widely is one of the recommendations from a crime perspective is that we cut all of our shrubs to about 2 feet so nobody can hide behind them. So when I saw that, I was like, maybe we should vet this a
So
little
I
bit.
can't hide
before-
anymore, is what you're
You
saying.
can't hide behind the bushes. So safety and security is going to address that as well as their traffic proposal that they're working on. So.
Okay. Jane, will you report on lakes? Jane Simonelli.
Green one.
Okay. The Lakes Committee met on the 11th, and the next meeting will be on February 15th. All the minutes are posted to the Lakes page at Live Sandoval. We're still working on doing a shoreline review. Members of the committee are walking around all the lakes, and we will submit to have quotes from the two vendors in the area to do shoreline repair. Once we have those, then we'll have a proposal to bring to the board. We'll be asking the lake doctor to come back and review the sites where the littorals were planted last year and see how those plants are doing. We want to keep evaluating those plants because we want to keep planting every year to improve the littorals in the lakes. We're always looking for new members. Solitude reviewed the pond watch reports and also did further testing on the ponds and found that the phosphorus level in the irrigation water provided by Cape Coral is down, which is very good news for us. Although it's lagging, the phosphorus level is still high in the lakes, and they found 3 lakes where it's continually especially high. Let's see if those come down. And there's nitrogen levels are high in 2 of the lakes. This is all in the report if you want more details. As I think Chuck mentioned, there's still some bubblers. There's bubblers waiting for parts, so we are aware of that. The next fishing event will be March 10th. Solitudes also found that they did core samples in 2 of the lakes, and the muck level at the bottom of the lake is very hot. It's deeper than it should be. It should only be like an inch or 2, and it's like 5 inches. So they are looking at treatments. Basically, we treat it with a bacteria that breaks that down. So we're looking at that, and they're going to start treating that. Any questions?
Thank you, Jane. Do you have more to report from finance?
Just one thing to add from a finance committee perspective. Unfortunately, we had to, excuse me, Judy Nassif has resigned from the finance committee. She is in the process of moving out of Sandoval, so she will be a loss. I know that she was also part of the landscape committee, so I wanted to thank her for her time that she spent with the finance committee and other committees in the community. And also, yeah, she was a good person to have to work with, and which means that we do have an opening on the finance committee, so if anyone's interested in looking at our numbers and being part of trying to improve the financial transparency of the community, please consider applying to join the committee. Thank you.
Covenants, Andrew?
Covenants met last Thursday. We had 2 people show to appeal. There were some errors in recordation, and those 2 appeals did go through. Otherwise, every other violation was approved or seconded and approved by the committee. I would say...
When you say go through, what do you mean?
They voted to confirm our fines.
Oh.
Okay. So they are hearing, we are hearing, or the Covenants Committee is hearing those appeals that we passed today. They'll appeal them next meeting. If we hear those appeals, the Covenants Committee decides whether or not to uphold or overturn our decisions without the others making the appeal. They approved the decisions based on the evidence provided by Chris Harris, the compliance officer. Just to kind of go over those violations that we're still seeing today. It's again roofs that have been put up without proper ARC that do follow their neighborhood colors. That's a $100 fine that generally is levied. We have some, again, we do have some roofs where unapproved colors for your streets were placed up without our committee approval, and that does get the maximum fine that was referenced earlier today. We're looking at less need for washing roofs. So to Chuck's point, people are seeming to be compliant with the roof washing requests. As you are beginning to see more requests for you to maintain your home's mulch, do be aware that mulch color is also specifically dictated in the documents and on livesandoval.com. We do have a few fines this month related to the wrong mulch color, red being the color that's identified, so just be aware when you're making your mulch selection that you look at what is approved. A good source of reference would be the mulch color used in the community common areas. So it tends to be that's what we're looking at this month when we have our meeting in February. That's it.
Risk management.
Risk management, Mr. Bill Duncan. We're
Bill,
blessed
risk management.
with your presence.
Hello, Bill.
Give him the mic.
We have a couple of items I'd like to go over tonight, just sort of an overview. I want to talk to you all about corporate record keeping, compliance with rules, regulations, and procedures, issues with our current procurement policies, internet negotiations, which we've already talked about, Asbury Circle issues, hurricane insurance update, and a joint meeting between risk management and safety and security. On the record keeping, why is that important? That's boring. Well, the simple fact is, care has to be taken. When this board, or any future board, or any past board, takes any action to approve a resolution, they have to know all of the regulations that in fact they're impacting with those, excuse me. You want people to hear me? And too often, we don't know everything that we're impacting when we do that. I'd just like to ask the board and future boards to make sure that they do look carefully into that before they willy-nilly approve any given resolution. Also, we need to say that when we do pass a resolution, that change is made to all of the existing resolutions. Too often we have people who come up and ask us for a resolution approving this, that, or the other thing, and they'll be looking at it in the context of one specific regulation, when in fact it might be impacting 3 or 4 different regulations. And 2, once we do pass a resolution, let's make sure that we put those in our records. I know right now Denise and some of the other folks are starting to look at some of the old resolutions, but right now, we're frankly, I would hate to bet money on how many people here know what our regulations really are. And then the final issue on the regulations, and I know this is boring to a lot of y'all, but lawyers like boring things, so excuse me. We have to make sure when we pass new regulations or resolutions that we inform everybody in the community, either by putting them on the website or by, number 1, putting them on the website, and number 2, if it's going to be something that impacts you on a day-to-day basis, we ought to send out some communications by email and other things. Don't take this wrong, but we need to comply with existing rules and procedures. Oftentimes, there's too many people.
Drum beat going over there somewhere.
Yes, and no.
our people who are signing contracts have the responsibility to make sure that all of the appropriate inquiries are made before we sign any contract. And an example, Chuck knows that I'm always bugging him about, well, do we have insurance certs? Well, before somebody signs a contract, they need to make sure they have insurance certs. And why is that important? Dunker, you just like to make money, right? No. First of all, I don't get money from this, I wish I did. But the insurance is to protect each and every one of you. Because if the board and the community is found liable for somebody's injury or for the house burning down or, you know, something like that, it comes out of each and every one of y'all's pockets. So we want to make sure that we have, when we have contractors, they have the insurance to protect us from their errors.
We
That's
just
been-
verified that with Juniper, as you know.
Yeah. Procurement policies. Our last policy, I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with this, but back in 2019, they passed a major policy on procurement. And I don't know how many of y'all are attorneys or just smart people. All of y'all are smart people. But I'll bet you that there's not one of you in here, including me, who can really interpret our current 2019 procurement policy and tell me what it really means and whether or not we're abiding by it right now. It is internally conflicting, it's internally ambiguous, and we really, John, I really do recommend that you have somebody take a look at it. Somebody smarter than me, probably Tom,
He wrote it.
Chuck, or something.
I did write it.
I can't even figure this darn thing out.
I mean, it's a terrible policy.
You're talking about the procedure we have now, requiring 3 bids and so forth and so on?
No. We have 2019, there is a quote procurement policy.
I thought that's been changed by the resolution last year of the process.
Well, I think that's his point.
Oh, I see. Good point, Bill.
Nobody really knows what's going on, and I'm sorry, maybe I'm bringing up boring stuff.
No, you're not.
Okay, internet services approach, the paradigm contract, which we've just been discussing. A few general thoughts about that. One, hey, I worked for a consulting firm for 10 years. I've worked both for clients and for the consulting firms themselves. It's wise to hire an expert to help you, okay? So I don't fight that. But we need to make sure that we check it. And I believe Bill has done some of this. We need to check to make sure, in fact, they've got a good reputation, okay? We need to make sure that we've got a contract with them that protects us, not them, okay? What do we mean by that? Well, reading this contract in one way, you could tell that or you could say, and if I was a squeezy lawyer, I'd say, if I were representing them, I'd say, well, these guys are gonna owe us $50,000 to $70,000 minimum. Okay. When I say these guys, I mean each of y'all. Okay. You have to be very careful when you review these types of contracts. I used to work for a consultant, I know. Our main object was to get paid, okay? So you want to make sure that there aren't ambiguous things in each of these contracts. And Bill and other folks have asked me, I've given a few thoughts on the contract. Hopefully we'll be able to negotiate something good. But remember, right now we've got it may not be the best service in the world, but we're only paying $25 a month, okay? in the future, I can't tell you if they're gonna have to lay a whole bunch of new cable and stuff in here. I don't know what it's gonna cost, but we do need expert advice on this. Okay, Asbury Park Circle, or Asbury Circle, not Park. I'd just like to reaffirm, because we went through and looked back at our records, and my boss was sitting back there shaking her head. Came up with, she keeps records, I'm terrible. But in fact, we did a walkthrough on Asbury Circle. At that point in time, the Risk Management Committee wrote up a report, sent it to the board, and said, we have a problem here, a safety problem. When was this? 2019. We're talking about 4 years ago. And we still haven't fixed that problem. I don't know for a fact, I'm not saying that it's dangerous, but I'm saying it's something we better look into, because if somebody gets hurt out there and we haven't done anything about it, well, I've been practicing law for 40 or 50 years. And I'll guarantee you, somebody will sue you, okay? Won't be me, but somebody will end up suing you. So let's do like John says and get some stuff. Okay, I think I only have one or two more items. John's telling me to get out of here. Ian update, Craig Snyder's continuing to work with Chuck to verify and finalize invoices that would be sent to the insurance company for potential reimbursement. I don't know where that, where that'll end up, but I know Chuck and Craig are trying to get every penny they can. Finally, there will be a joint meeting between risk management and safety and security groups to make sure, number one, we don't waste time by having duplicative efforts, because frankly, there's a heck of a lot of overlap between risk management and safety and security, okay? So we don't want to waste time, but at the same time, when we've got something important, like the safety on one or more of our streets that everybody can tell, we need to work together, and we will work together to pool our efforts to make sure that we get that done. Okay, folks, you're tired of hearing me.
Thank you, Bill, very much. Strategic planning.
Beth Ann.
Oh, you're back.
Use the mic.
Nick, can you hear me with this? Okay. So as you know, the strategic plan was approved, and now that it's been approved, we are now gonna go back to each committee, review their goals that they submitted to us, see where they're at with it, the status. This strategic plan was created back in May. So when we look at what was submitted, a lot of the plan has been completed. When we look at landscaping, we see a lot that has been done. When we look at social, a lot has been done. So the committees actually have gotten stuff done. So we need to update it with the status. So we're gonna go back to the committees, get that information, and then put a status. We're creating a form that spells out what the plan was, when it was completed. Some of the committees may have to adjust what they originally submitted. So we're gonna take care of that when we go. I already went to amenities, I have an appointment to go to social. We want this plan to really come, not just sit in a drawer and not be paid attention to. It is a plan. I know that strategic plans work. It can take us from point A to point E. It's a 5-year plan, and so it's really important that the community, it's now on the website, it's now on Live Sandoval. Go there, look at it. If you have concerns, talk to the committees that represent your concerns. There were a couple of things that I could think about in terms of the Ashbury issue. If that's in our plan, it then holds somebody accountable. This hasn't been done. This is the time frame that we thought it would get done. Maybe there's good reason why it didn't done, but it's a plan. And so we really, really need to take this seriously and go to your committees and ask them to take it seriously, because we really can get some stuff done for the community. I also want to say that the plan it's not the strategic plan, it's the community's plan. Okay, we are just the author of it, the information comes from the community. I want to encourage folks that if they have a concern about it, come talk to us. When it was originally submitted to the board, there was a board member who didn't agree with it. They didn't vote to approve it. That actually is not a bad thing. That is a good thing, because then they can have the opportunity to come and to talk to us, let us know their concerns, and we can go from there. So I would encourage people and just keep in mind that this is your plan, not the strategic planning committees. Did I leave anything out?
You did marvelous.
Okay.
Nice job.
And I would just like to make a quick comment. As a shameless plug, I am very blessed to be involved with two fantastic committees, which is risk management as well as strategic planning. So I'm blessed.
Thanks, committees, for carrying Todd along. Appreciate it.
Yes.
All right, this concludes our meeting. The meeting is adjourned. Next meeting is the 29th of February. We have another period of president comments if you'd like to stay and make comments. We'll be here for you. 3 minutes per time. Anybody want to talk?
I do, actually.
Good.
I would like to know when y'all got the money from the sale of that Welcome Center and the land. When was that deposited?
I can answer that. So we received that approximately August, September of last year, and it was deposited into our Fifth Third investment account. It's in, I can go look up the exact date of the transaction, but that was in that time frame.
How much?
Okay, memory test. I have to look that up. It was,
Probably $430,000.
well,
Okay, then we had to pay out of that.
Yeah.
We had to pay,
if you give me, I can look it up if you, if you want to give me a minute.
I think it's a good idea, since it was brought up, and the fact that it kind of, is touching on areas of conversation and from just like what we've been told.
there's no correlation with the sidewalk between that money. There's no correlation. I'm sorry, but we'll be glad to get you this information, but it doesn't correlate.
That would be wonderful. And I mean, again, it is, everyone that was present then during conversations and what went on, there's different people that have been elected now, so different people do different things. So I understand. I again agree with this gentleman completely. Documentation is fabulous.
Yeah.
But when people do have that documentation and they find it, it does make you liable in many ways. So I'd just like to know the amount, and if it was deposited August or September, that's great. Time frame wise, that's fine. It's just the amount that we'd like to see. Thank you.
I don't understand why that's important, but okay.
Because
Any
it
other
affects
comments?
everyone, because it affects everybody in the community.
Okay, what-
Because it would have been deposited into the whole HOA account. It affects everyone in this room and
Of
everyone
course,
who
it
lives in
does,
the
of course,
community.
and it's been reported.
Did everybody get notification of it?
it was in the treasurer's reports.
Gentlemen,
We have
gives,
multiple reports.
gives examples all the time.
Really good glasses to see it.
Do you? The only other meeting that we ever came to was that, and I know that that particular topic wasn't addressed at that time. But that's all, it was just
So
that particular
I'm
figure.
just trying to find, because I know that when we reviewed the results of the audit for 2022, I also went through a resolution statement on the Taylor Morris litigation. I'm just trying to find that
Okay.
report for you right
Good.
now.
I know your line items and everything, because we did see your report on that, and it was excellent. So that was the only other meeting that we've been to, so,
Okay.
as far as the accounting goes,
I
but
just don't remember which month we did that report. I'm looking for it right now.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Any other comments? If not, see you tomorrow, coffee and conversation, if you like, all right?
It's all right.